soldiers joining us. We are back again with the Tanakh Daily Challenge. We're learning Prakim Hey and Vav of Shmuel Aleph today. Just a reminder, starting tomorrow, I'm pretty sure we move the pace up to 3 Prakim a day. Not exactly sure how we're going to do that, but you guys have to just put in more time a little bit. And I have to speak quicker and leave more things out. But again, the purpose of this is just to give a general summary of the Prakim and point out a few interesting points. Okay, so Perek Hey, Shmuel Aleph. If you remember from yesterday, so there was this battle and the Jews lost, and the Plishtim took the Aron HaKodesh, and they also killed Chofni and Pinchas, and Eli died. Okay. So the Plishtim take the Aron HaKodesh, and they put it in the temple of their god, whose name was Dagon. And lo and behold, the next morning, their idol is flat on its face, lying down, basically toppled over. So they think, okay, I don't know, I guess it just happened. And they stand them up again, and, leave it there another night. The next morning, it happens again. Dagon is fallen over, is toppled over, but this time his head and his hands are cut off, totally dismembered. And they realize that there's something going on here. There's something about this Aron. So this happens in Ashdod. Now, besides the fact that it toppled over the god of the Plishtim, it also plagued, let's call it, the people of Ashdod with a terrible disease. You look at Pasuk Vav, Vatichbad Yad Hashem al Ashdodim. Vayishimim, like Shmama, it destroyed them. Vayach otam bat chorim, and it smote them with what's called chorim. And if you see that the ktiv is afolim, and we also have that, by the way, in the Torah, in the Tochacha, the word afolim is kanireh, seemingly not a nice word, okay? And it was basically changed, not changed, it's still there in the Ktiv, but the Kri is, we read it as Tchorim. Now in modern Hebrew, Tchorim are hemorrhoids. And that's what seemingly, most of the Mefarshim explain, that it's some kind of disease in the anus, and it was very painful, and it caused all different problems, which we'll get to in a second. But the Mefarshim talk about why the difference between Tchorim and Afolim. They say one's the disease, one's the name of the disease, one's the actual, I don't know what you call it, what actually comes out, how it looks. Some say it's called what was the other one? They have all these explanations. The word Ophel means darkness, even though it's with an ayin, not with an aleph. And aleph means darkness. All these different, because it's in a covered place, a place which is usually dark, so to say. All these different mefarshim. But the bottom line is that there's this terrible plague amongst the Ashdodim, and they say, something's going on here. Let's get rid of this Aron. We don't want this with us. And they basically hand it over to the people of Gat, which is also Plishtim, right? They say, let it be their problem. So the Aron is moved over to Gat, and then guess what? Of course, the same thing happens there. Same exact thing happens there. That they also get plagued. So they also send the Aron, send the ark somewhere else. Where do they send it to? A place called Ekron. And the people of Ekron already, I guess, are getting word of what's going on, and they already start crying, screaming out, and say, "Hey, what's going on here? Why are you bringing this to us? We don't want this here. It's going to cause us problems," and it does cause them problems. Look at Pasuk Yud Aleph, for example, the second to last pasuk of the parak. Vayishlachu, vayasvu et kol sarnei plishtim. So they decide to gather all the leaders of the plishtim. There were 5 sarnei plishtim. It was like 5 different states, I guess, within the lands of the plishtim, different city-states, whatever you want to call them. And they decide, Vayomru shalchu et Aron Elokei Yisrael, get rid of it, send it away. V'yashov l'mkomo, let it go back to its place, meaning give it back to the Jews. V'lo yamit oti v'etami, so that it won't kill me. The leader was saying this, and my nation, all the people here. Now here's the point. Ki hayta mu'umat mavet b'chol ha'yir, kavda ma'od. There was basically a plague of death. People were dying left and right. Yad Elokim Sham. First of all, it killed a lot of people. And the people who didn't die, who kubat chorim, they also got this hemorrhoids or whatever it was. Fatal shavat hayir b'shamayim, and they cried out to the heavens, which of course is just a phrase of, it just shows how great their cry was, that it is if it reached the heavens. It's like an exaggeration. And that brings us straight into Perek Vav. So the Plishtim call together their priests and their kosmin, their sorcerers, magicians, whatever you want to call them, and they say, "What should we do? Like, what are we going to do with this honor?" They knew they couldn't just give it back to the Jews. They had to do something, sort of to atone, so that the God of Israel won't smite them more. So these sorcerers tell the leaders of the Plishtim that they should send the Aron back with a gift to God. I mean, don't just send it back by itself. You got to send something with it, sort of to appease the God of Israel. And they do so. And what do? They send it back with, look at Pasuk Dalet, it's a little bit of a strange Pasuk. What gift should we give? Vayomru mispar sarnei plishtim. It should be based on the numbers of the leaders of the plishtim, the sarnei plishtim. Chamishat chorei zahav, 5 golden hemorrhoids, meaning they made a sort of, a depiction of it in gold, of the hemorrhoids. It doesn't sound very pleasant, but that's what they did. The chamisha achberei zahav, and 5 golden mice. What do mice have to do with anything? So 3 different opinions in the Mefarshim. Rashi and the Radak say that it was part of the plague. That what happened is that this plague somehow made their intestines come out. I know this doesn't sound very pleasant, but and then the mice would come and eat them up. Would basically attack them and eat out their intestines. So therefore they wanted to make golden mice also to appease the God of Israel. The Ralbag and others say, no, the Achbarim, the mice had nothing to do with the Tchorim, the hemorrhoids. They came and just destroyed the land. They were going and eating up all the different produce that was growing in the land. They destroyed land. In fact, that says that pretty explicitly in the next pasuk. And the Metzudas David says that the reason why they did golden mice was because these hemorrhoids, this disease, was in some way looked similar to mice. I guess the way it formed the hemorrhoids formed, it was like in the shape of mice somehow, and therefore they made 5 golden hemorrhoids and 5 golden mice, and that was the decision that is what they were going to send together with the Aron. Okay. And then they said, look at Pasuk Vav, they said to them, V'lama tichabdu et levavchem. They said, send this. Now don't forget, these are the sorcerers, the Kohanim, the priests, saying to Plishtim, the leaders of the Plishtim, send it back and send it with this gift because, look at Vav, V'lama techabdu et lebavchem. Why should you harden your hearts? Kasher kibdu Mitzrayim uparo et libam. This was known history, that the Jews already defeated the Mitzrayim, and the Mitzrayim were being so stupid and hard-hearted that they ignored all the different punishments that God was inflicting on them, and they were being stubborn, right? And so they're saying to their leaders, don't be like them. He's going to do the same thing to us. The God of Israel, basically, played around with the Mitzrayim. That's what hitalel means, and eventually they had to send the Jews out anyway. Therefore, they said as follows. Here's the details of how you should send it. You should take a agalah chadasha, which means a new wagon, brand new wagon, never used before. Take two cows, but cows that are in the middle of nursing their children. They're still nursing their children, their newborns. And tie the cows to the agalah, to this wagon, and put the aron in the wagon with another box with these golden gifts that were given to the God of Israel, right? And then take their children, the babies, the calves, and lock them up. Now, what would a normal cow do? The cow wouldn't move. The cow would try its best to get back to its child, to nurse the child. So what the sorcerers were saying, let's do this test to see if really the reason why this whole mess is happening is because we took the Aron of Hashem, and it is God. The way to tell is if these cows ignore their internal instinct, and instead of going back to their children and trying to nurse their children, they just walk. And that's actually what happened. They tied the cows to the wagon, etc., and the cows just go straight towards Beit Shemesh. Look at Pasuk Yud Bet. Vayisharna parot. Yisharna from the word yashar. They went straight. B'derech al derech Beit Shemesh, on the way to Beit Shemesh. B'misila achat, one straight road. Halchu haloch v'gao, and they were crying. They were mooing. I don't know what the word is. What cows do, right? Because it was painful for them not to nurse their children, but they had no choice because they were being obviously led by God. V'lo saru yamin, well, they didn't go to right or to the left. V'sanei plishtim holchim acharem ad gvul Beit Shemesh, and then the sanei plishtim followed them up until the border of Beit Shemesh, and that's how the Aron gets back to the Jewish people. But it's not good. Look at Pasuk Yud Gimel. Ubeit Shemesh kotrim k'tzir chitim ba'emek, and it was the time of the harvest. Vayisu denehem, and they lift their eyes. Vayirut Aron vayismechu v'lerot. They were so thrilled. Wow, the Aron is back. And what do? They bring these cows as an olah. They basically take the Aron. They take the agalah, which is made out of wood, right? They break it up. They use that wood as fire, and they use the cows as an olah to Hashem, and they offered it to God. Okay, and then the Leviim take the Aron, of course, and the box with the golden gifts, and they put it on a big rock in Beit Shemesh, right? And the kids are bringing sacrifices to God.